the void. Just in the void. Me and the void.
Take a look at this quilt block here. You could even zoom in if you wanted to. All right, this is it's a block. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I think it's just a little dial up there. Yeah, you can zoom in. Okay, so this is a quilt block. Now, if quilting is a language, then a block is sort of like a word or a phrase. So look at this block and tell me, on a scale of 1 to 10, is it soggy and rich, or is it spicy and green? Okay. Now, let's see if we can find another one here. Let's take this one. Okay, now take a look at this block. This one, I don't know what this one is called. All right, is this block on a scale of 1 to 10, is it contemplative, sad, or is it chill and rad? All right, so now that was just like a little warm up, get us in the mood to think in these metaphorical ways, you know. So I wanted to tell you about this Star Trek episode that I was watching recently, and I've got it. I'll pull it up here. So basically, there's this captain. His name's Captain Sisko, and here he is. So the captain manages to find himself inside of a wormhole, and he's in this wormhole, and it's like the wormhole. It's not. It's usually these things they pop up and then they go away, and they're really quick. They don't stay for very long. But this one is weird because it's a stable wormhole. And it turns out that it's actually a stable wormhole because it's the home of this creature that has built it for its home, you know, like its nest or something. And the creature is like, what is this captain doing in this wormhole? Doesn't understand how a captain came to be inside of this wormhole. And the creature is trying to communicate with the captain, trying to communicate and figure out why he's in his nest, you know. And they're trying to talk to each other, but it's like they're having trouble communicating because the creature that built this wormhole doesn't reside in linear time. It doesn't understand linear time, right? It doesn't understand how the captain could have made this mistake of ending up in this wormhole, because, like, if you know what is going to happen in the future, then why would you ever make a mistake? It doesn't understand how something could die or, like, have yet to be born, you know? And it's trying to talk to this captain, but the only way it can talk is through the captain's memories, things that the captain has experienced, like this memory here. So this is a memory of the captain, Sisko, and Dax, and they're inside this, like, beautiful area, and like the creature is speaking through Dax, and the captain. That's the only way that they can communicate, right? So the creature. Where am I going with this? The creature is like, yeah, trying to talk with the captain, figure out how he could have made that mistake. And the captain manages to convince this creature that not only is linear time like the only way that he can perceive his own life, but it's what gives his life meaning, right? If something can go away or die, or you have it 1 second and then you don't have it, that's what makes it worth it and nice when you do, you know? And the creature, I guess, comes to understand that in some way, and so he lets him out of the wormhole. And then they, you know, that's just the first episode. Basically, quilting is like that conversation happening in reverse, okay? So here I am, it's the middle of the pandemic, and I'm sewing my quilt blocks, and I think I'm just learning a new skill, or, you know, whatever, just like occupying time. And it takes a long time to quilt a quilt. It takes so much time, so I'm working for a while, and I'm, you know, taking all these pieces and cutting them up and going to the thrift store and buying fabric and cutting it up and into squares and all that stuff, and I'm sewing the squares together, and months later, you know, I end up with this quilt, and it's like, holy shit, I've been communicated to by something. I don't know what's on the other side of that communication. On one side is me, and I'm sitting here, and I think I'm just talking to myself, but no, there's something else out there, right? What is it? It is a pattern, a block that's been passed down for generations. It's this practical idea of trapping heat between 3 layers of fabric. Quilting is something that developed over millennia. I mean, they found Egyptian hieroglyphics and drawings and paintings where you can see evidence of fabric being quilted together. Patterns that we see right now, North Star, this is called the North Star or the Sawtooth Star. This is a pattern that was used during the Underground Railroad to guide runaway slaves to the north. So these patterns are words that are being moved through time. They kind of exist outside of time. What else am I communicating with? I'm communicating with geometry here, like 45-degree angles and, you know, all these angles that fit together. These are things that we didn't invent. We discovered them. So it's not a creature on the other side of this wormhole. It's like a version of ourselves that is outside of time, right? So, let's do some quilting, right? I thought we would learn how to do the North Star. So for that, you're gonna need, let's see, you need 4 squares of a light color. I got this nice light blue. You need 4 squares of a darker color, and then you need 4 squares of an even darker color or a neutral color. And these squares should all be 3 inches by 3 inches. And then you need 1 square for the middle, and that's 5 by 5. So, okay, here's something else. I've got this, there's a North Star here. Let's see. This is kind of a North Star-y looking thing. Now, when you make a quilt, you've got your whole quilt with all these stars in it, and somehow they're all the North Star. That doesn't make sense. So we're just going to call them star. They're going to be sawtooth stars for our purposes. But I think we need to understand this a little further. All right. So, can you hear me on that mic over here? Okay. All right, this is a solar graph. I'm gonna do a terrible job of explaining this, but okay, so basically this is the sun's path across the sky over the course of a year, right? In the wintertime, it does this little tiny little thing right here, and then in the summertime it goes really, really high, right? Okay, so according to this solar graph, noon would be when the sun is highest, right? That's what we all think. Apparently that's not so. Noon, like, everyone is standing on a meridian, okay? Like, wherever I am on east-west, I've got this line going through me from north to south, okay? That's my meridian. And every time I'm right under the sun, my meridian, and I switch around and then I end up right back under the sun, that's a day, right? That's 24 hours. Okay? Not exactly. It depends on where you are, right? Okay. How you measure a day differs depending on what you're using to measure it. So, let's see. A sidereal day. Sidereal means pertaining to the stars. Okay, so everything is moving all the time, right? Everything is always moving. Like, we're rotating around the sun, but we're also like moving through space. Our galaxy is moving. So what can we use to measure a day? It's got to be something very, very fucking far away, right? That's how you measure a sidereal day. So if my meridian is pointed at some star that's way, way the hell away, then when I turn around and my meridian ends up back at that star, it's only 23 point something hours. It's not 24, right? Okay, so this is our sun now, passing above the sky, all right? Now, you would think that when the sun's highest, if I took a picture of the sun where it is, you would get a line of straight suns going all the way down, right? But somehow that's not the case, right? The sun actually takes a path like this. Sometimes it's early. So this is noon. Now we're taking a picture at noon every day. Alright? And somehow the sun is early and then it's late, and then it's early again, and then it's late again. I think I might need to use my little pens to do this now. Oh no, okay. We're taking a different approach. Okay. Oh no. What are we gonna do? This is live TV, alright? Okay. Am I making any sense here? People in the room? Like, you all get the sidereal thing? All right, so we're going to work on our sidereal quilt here in a minute, but I just got to finish explaining this. Hold on. If you don't know where we are, we're in the Lino Kino Automat studio. All right, so if at the bottom we've got winter, and at the top we've got summer, and each one of these suns was taken at 12 o'clock p.m., noon, high noon. Why is it not just straight down? Well, probably for a lot of reasons, but one of them is time zones, okay? Time zones are our own invention, right? Before, when they did sundials, noon was always right when the sun passed over the meridian of the sundial, right? That was noon. But that made it hard to schedule things in other places, like whatever they needed to do back then. So they made these time zones, and because of that, noon was not necessarily when the sun is highest in the sky. All of a sudden you get this pattern that people have known about for ages, this figure eight pattern, where the sun is early and then it's late, and then it's early and then it's late again. What does this mean? I don't know. It means either we don't know what we're doing at all, or we know exactly what we're doing, and we've decided it doesn't matter where the sun is. If it's noon for us, it's noon. We just want it to be noon, and that's that. Why this figure eight? This is the important thing. This is the communication, all right? This is the universe telling us, we understand what you're doing, all right? We get why you made this decision to ignore the sun and do your own thing, all right? This is the communication. Okay, so now we've got this quilt pattern we're gonna learn, our sidereal quilt. I hope you've all cut out your quilt blocks in time. All right. Oh yeah, are you saying I should put the phone number on? Well, let's do this tutorial first. How about we do a little tutorial? How about that? Okay, I need my sewing machine here. Now, okay, I'm gonna do this like, accuracy, it doesn't matter really. I'm gonna tell you how to do it accurately, but it's really up to you how much you want to think about that kind of stuff. Some people make the most beautiful quilts, and they don't give a shit about accuracy or corners matching up or any of that crap. And really, I like to hand sew. I think the only reason I'm using the machine right now is because, it's a little faster. Plus, it's just a nice set piece, I guess. Okay, so we're gonna take, now we have 12 squares that are 3 inches by 3 inches. 4 squares of 3 different kinds of fabric. And they can be any fabric. You can choose whatever you want. Okay, so now here, I'm going to teach you something called the sawtooth pattern, all right? So we get these little triangles, these little right triangles here, we're going to make them 2 at a time, okay? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our one color and another color, and we're going to draw a little line from one corner to the other corner, okay? Get my pen here. All right. Okay, now we're going to sew on either side of this line, leaving a little space on the line where there's no seam. So you're going to sew 2 seams on this one square. It seems sort of counterintuitive, right? One on the right side and one on the left, giving yourself like maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch on either side of the line. All right, so let's do that. I go back a little bit before I go forward. That's just to sort of lock that seam in place, because we're not going to tie a little knot here. And then you don't even have to cut it. You just flip it around and go back the other way. All right. Ooh, that's quite a big seam allowance. All right. And then I go back and forward again. All right, so now what I end up with, this is what I end up with, all right? So I've sewed a seam on either side of this line. Now I'm gonna cut on the line here. And what I get is a square with 2 different colors, making right triangles. All right. So we're going to do it 3 more times. Okay. All right. All right. So now I've got all 4 of all 8, in fact, of my right triangle pieces. So now I'm going to take them over to the iron here, and I'll flatten out the seams. Mhm. This is really strange, you all. It's a little strange. I'm not used to quilting with so many people watching. Usually I'm just by myself in my basement, and I've got like a little tape player. Maybe I'll put on a tape here. How about that? Do you have any music playing right now? You wanna take that down? How about this? I also usually have my cat Lucy in the studio with me. And Lucy couldn't join us today because she was busy. She had a little date. Okay, so now we're going to take our right triangles. So we have to decide, what color are the points of the star going to be? Are they going to be this light blue or the dark blue? Are we going to have light blue star or dark blue star? I think we should have a light blue star. So that means that we need to connect our dark blues here, because that's what's going to be pointing inwards into the central square here. So now we'll take our dark blue stars, our dark blue triangles, line them up, and we're going to put them together, two of them together, face to face, because when we sew this seam and we open it up, we need the faces to face outward. And what I like to do is peek in this little corner here and see if my lines are lining up, right? You can kind of peek in there and see. So if they're lining up, then you take that and you sew that seam. Alright. So now we've got a larger right triangle with 2 points of a star. So this will be one side of our sawtooth star, our sidereal star. And you can have many stars in your sidereal quilts. It doesn't just have to be the North Star. That block has been called so many things throughout history. Pretty much everyone that does it calls it something else. Star of Bethlehem, if you're into that. North Star. Texas Star. Call it that if you want. Okay, so we're lining it up face to face. Our inside, our dark blue triangles here. Okay, last one here. And then we're gonna sew on our corner pieces. All right. We got a lot of triangles here. Let's flatten these out. Part of quilting is just getting into this repetitive nature. You know, if you're gonna make a whole quilt of these, you need to cut out like 500 of these triangles. And it gets pretty repetitive. And I like that, you know, I like that about quilting. Especially during the pandemic. Usually, you know, when people quilt, they do it in a circle with other people, right? Now we all just have to do it in our basements or on live TV. That's another option you can do. Okay, so then what we're gonna do is we are gonna take now our 4 corner pieces and 2 of our little pointed ends here, and we're going to take these 2 and set them aside. Now we're going to sew 2 corner pieces onto the end of each of these, and we're going to make a little row. All right? And when I do this, I'm lining it up with the point part of my patch here. So again, inside faces, or you know, the pretty side, the upside of the fabric goes to the inside when you're sewing a seam. So let's sew that one. Okay. And we're lining the other one up with the pointed side. So this line here is like as straight as it can be. And this side here, that can be all wonky because that's just going to get attached to another block here, right? But this side, we want to be a nice straight row so that when we sew these rows together, we have a straight line to sew across, you know, to sew near, as just a reference point. All right, so that's what we're going to end up with, this row here. With this triangle, the negative space pointing in and the points of the star pointing out, right? So let's do that one more time. All right, now we've got our 2 rows here. All right, let's line these up here, just so you can see. So what's gonna go in the middle here is what we're about to sew now. So we're gonna take these 2 blocks that we've pieced together, and we're going to sew them to either end of our central piece here. All right. Now this is where it gets kind of tricky, and you're going to screw it up once or twice or 5 times, because that's just how it always happens. So let's just do one first, all right? All right. And again, I'm just telling you how to do this accurately so you know, but you can totally throw this all out the window when you try to do it yourself, because accuracy isn't everything. In fact, sometimes it kind of gets in the way. Okay, so now that we've got our 2 points on our central piece here, before we put this other end on, these other 2 points on, we're gonna look at this distance, right? The distance of the presentation side of our row here, and this part right here, the 2 points. We want this to be the same as from this line to the opposite side of the of where the points start. So that's where we want our seam to go. So we can just eye this here and line this up so these corners match here. And it looks like it's like maybe a 1/2 inch there. So let's put our seam there. Now it gets a little confusing because you say, well, I've got this extra little strip here of this fabric, but we're just going to get rid of it. We're going to pretend like it's not there. So now we've got our north and south part of our North Star. And when we put the side parts on, we're just going to flip it face to face. And now here's a good time to use a pin. So we'll pin it in our seam where we're sewing our 2 seams together. We'll pin that once, and then we'll pin on the other side where we're sewing our 2 seams together. Right at the place where our seam meets a seam, right? And that perpendicular line, we want our corners to match up nice, if that is indeed what we want. So, all right. Now, go down this line here, maybe a little slower than the other ones. And when we get to that seam, pull out the pin and go back and forth just a little bit, just to make sure we secure that seam. Same here. So that's one end of our star. Did we get it? Pretty close. There's that little thing there, but that's all right. Okay. Now let's put our last quarter of our star on. And again, we're just lining it up here. Sometimes I peek inside this little, if you zoom in here real tight, I peek right here. I flip this seam up and I see, does this line match the line that we're trying to sew it to, right? And I see it does, so I'm going to pin it there. All right, and then I take it to the next point where I want a line to match up with a line, and I flip that seam up and peek under there. Can you see it? Does it match? Yes, it does. All right. All right. Okay. And here it is. Now we'll just flatten this out and iron it. Let's check this out. Kind of crazy with this blue star here. I usually like to pick a dark color for the corners and all the negative space, just so that that star really pops out here. Okay. All right, here we go. There we have the North Star. All right, I'm gonna put this away now. I'd like to open up the phone lines here. So, does anybody want to call me to tell me your quilt stories, or what you think about the fourth dimension or things existing outside of time? But here, before you do, nobody call me yet. The first 5 minutes, it's just for people over 50. So if you're over 50 years old, it's gonna be like it's like the JCC or like the Kroger, you know, like Sunday mornings are just for senior citizens. So taking cues, senior citizens, 50 and up. All right. Give me a call. The number is on the screen. I'm gonna just get my thing here. So let's. I'm gonna work on this little star quilt here. And while we're waiting for someone to call in, if there's anybody over 50 listening, which probably not, then we. This is the North Star that I made before, and I. You know, this central part is just these hexagons. I've been kind of obsessed with hexagons lately because it all takes so much time. It's just so time consuming. If you have a full-time job, or if you like have a child or a dog, you might not be able to do any of this stuff. You probably need to be part-time, freelancer, or just have a cat. Because hexagons, I mean, you might be able to do it under the table at work, but I don't know what that's like. I've never had a job like that before, so. So yeah, so I'm gonna sew some zigzag patterns here into my thing. And I'm gonna stop explaining what I'm doing. Is there anybody over 50?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, what's the question?
It's from my mom. She wants to know if you're a fabric forager, or if you buy fat quarters that coordinate.
If I buy...
What's the one tool you did not live without?
Oh, I don't know why I should have... Sorry. If I'm a fabric forager or a fat...
Or if you buy fat quarters that coordinate, her wording.
Fat quarters?
And what's the one tool you could not live without for quilting, aside from the sewing machine?
Oh yeah. Well, I could live without a sewing machine. That's the thing, is that you really, I thought about not doing the sewing machine because it's just not necessary, really. It's like all of this stuff can be done by hand. And really, when you think about it, a sewing machine seam, it's so straight. No human can sew that small of stitches or, that straight. When you have hand-sewn things, let's see if I can find one. The seams have this beautiful little thing that goes like that. So I wouldn't even consider a sewing machine, a necessary tool. I think necessary is either an iron or this rotary cutter. The rotary cutter is really nice. It just speeds things up, but quilting takes a long time. So, and then I forage fabric. I go to the thrift store. I cut up clothes, or sometimes my friends give me things, which is really nice. Any other questions from people over 50 years old? If you're under 50, I know you're chomping at the bit here. We're going to give you a chance here to ask a question, but it's still senior citizen time. No more questions?
Someone wants to hear more about Lucy's date.
Oh yeah, Lucy has a
date with another cat?
No, I mean she's got a kid.
Wait.
She's got a child that she has to go take care of sometimes. Basically, it's a long story, but she met this guy, and she's just been seeing him for like a couple of years now, and I didn't even know she had a kid until after we got her. If I had known, we probably would have said this is too much trouble. Sorry. But no, she's had to go take care of her kid. Sorry. That's what she's doing. Any other questions from people over 50? And feel free to call me. We can talk. Like, it doesn't have to be a question either. Like, you can tell me a story about your quilt. Okay, what's the question?
Cooper's grandmother asks, where do you take your fabric, Eli?
Hi. I'm glad you're watching. Hi. Nice to see ya. Nice to hear your question. I got, there's this place called Resource Exchange in Philly, and I got a lot of fabrics from there because what they do is they collect like material from people who just like don't want it anymore. Like a lot of times shoots and commercial shoots and things, like they'll have like a bunch of crap that they don't need at the end of the shoot, and so they'll donate it to Resource Exchange, and then Resource Exchange does a really good job of like organizing it all and displaying it all, so you can buy little scraps, like a piece like this for like 50 cents or something. And if you're a quilter, like this might be exactly what you're looking for, and you don't need a whole yard. Most of the scraps that I've got are just little tiny scraps. And then, here's someone calling. Hello?
Hi, Eli.
You're on Taking Cues.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello? Hi, Eli. It's Fiona. I'm wondering how you got started on your quilting journey, and I'm wondering if you have any quilting idols who you look up to. And I'm wondering what you like to do with the quilts after you've made them.
Okay. Thanks for calling, Fiona. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. What I got started quilting like 2 years ago when I was depressed. And yeah, I think that's how I got started. But really though, it got started because my mom was a quilter, and she quilted. She used to have the quilters over like every month. They would come over and they would drink coffee and like eat a bunch of cookies and stuff. And so growing up, like the quilters would come over once a month, and they would always hang out really late, like way past my bedtime. So I always like was interested in whatever they were doing, but I don't think I really ever understood it. I didn't care about the quilting. It was like the excitement, the quilting circle, all the talking and the hanging out that I really liked about it. So I got started, I guess maybe then, but then picked it up when I was just sad. I don't know, something just made me want to make a blanket, or make something to warm myself up with. And then, okay, I have a couple of quilting idols. I would say Rosie Lee Tompkins, that's a quilting idol. She's a black quilter from California who she just quilted the top quilts. She didn't actually do the quilting. She just pieced together these beautiful things, and she would do like biblical quilts and story quilts, and she also mixed fabrics in this amazing way. Like, she didn't care if it was like lace on top of cotton with polyester or whatever. Like, a lot of quilters are kind of like uptight about that kind of stuff, but she would just like put whatever with whatever, She would take like old bomber jackets and like put that in a quilt, or like crazy beads and stuff, put those in a quilt. So Rosie Lee Tompkins. There's this this quilter named Heidi Parks that I like. She's on Instagram. She does a lot of this like improvisational quilting stuff. So like she never really does patterns like this. She just kind of does like let's see. She did one quilt that was so cool where she like took her diva cup and like put the diva, like made a stamp with the diva cup like every month. So it was like a menstrual quilt that it was so beautiful when it was all done, but like all the fabric was just dyed with her menstrual blood. I thought that was really cool. And then when she would quilt it, she would just like start in one end and just improv the whole quilting part. So I definitely like that. And then what was the third part? What do I do with them when I'm done? I hang them in my house. Just wait. I don't know. I have no idea. Like, sometimes I think maybe I should like make a baby a quilt or something, or like put it in a gallery, and then I just don't. So maybe in like 4 years I'll do something with a quilt. So far, I haven't met anyone that I love enough to make them a quilt. I need to love someone like a whole lot to put that much time into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gotta be like a really important person. And I don't know. The idea of making a baby quilt is cool because they're smaller, so you know, it doesn't take as much time. It's so time consuming. Does that answer your questions?
Yeah, thank you so much, Eli.
Right,
Those
cool.
are all amazing answers.
Thanks.
All very beautiful. Loved
Thanks for
hearing about
calling.
your mom and her friends quilting.
Yeah, that was always really fun. Okay, I'm gonna open up the
Okay.
lines now. Thanks,
Yeah,
Fiona.
you take another call.
Okay, bye. All right, and Fiona's not over 50 years old, so we're definitely past that point. So now anybody can call. Senior citizen time is over. We're gonna take a break soon. Okay, we're gonna take a little break soon to change the battery on the camera. Sorry, we're not changing a battery on the camera. We're just taking a break. Okay. And we're back from not changing a battery in the camera. We had no technical issues this whole time. Also, I just want to thank Michael and Adam and Gabe because they helped me set this whole thing up, which I had no idea how to do. And in general, Lino Kino TV, LKTV, this project is incredible. If you have a TV show idea, please submit it. And if you have work that you want to screen, submit it, and it'll be on this Twitch stream. We'll program it. This whole thing has been really cool. So anybody else gonna call? Nobody else over 50 calling tonight? We're gonna do this for another 15 minutes. So okay, here we go. Now we got a call. Okay, hello. You are on Taking Cues.
Hi, Eli. This is Saskia.
Hi Saskia. How are you?
I have a few questions.
Yeah, go for it.
The first one is, when I think about non-linear time, I think a lot about spirals. So I was wondering if you've ever made a spiral quilt.
No, I've never made a spiral quilt.
Is that a really hard thing to make?
I don't know. I don't think it would be that hard. I watched this guy, Zach Foster, make a spiral quilt, though. He went live on Instagram a couple of days ago and made this spiral-ish looking quilt. And it was like, what he did was he made wedges, right? But he made the wedges by sewing a bunch of rows together, okay? And then the rows... He took the rows and made them horizontal and then cut the wedges out of the rows of horizontal stripes. So I would imagine that you could maybe do some kind of spiral-ish looking thing by doing like a radial quilt with just wedges.
That's very cool.
But I would have to try that again. You know, like, it's so crazy. Like, the Earth just moves in a corkscrew through space, you know? Like, we never actually, you think like, oh, it's like, it's spring, you know, so we're like back, like you have this image of like the Earth as like existing in a point, and then like it swings back around to become spring again. But like the whole solar system is moving through space. So like when you're orbiting, we're actually just corkscrewing through space, right? Like your life can be seen from super far away. Like the beginning of your life and the end of your life is just one part of a never-ending corkscrew of orbits going through space. So it's kind of, that's a spiral.
But that's funny to think that that's like kind of a line twisted up. That's like a linear thing to me, but also then crazy if, like, some people say that we only experience time that way because we can't experience it as it actually is, all crunched together in one moment.
Yeah.
Do you think that's true?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think we have to experience time in a linear way, but like other things don't necessarily have to, you know? I had this geometry teacher named Mr. Garrett who used to explain the fourth dimension. Like, he would say that like a fourth dimensional creature could reach inside of the refrigerator like without opening it and just pull out like a gallon of milk like through the side of the refrigerator. So if fourth dimensional creatures can do that, then to me it makes sense that they wouldn't experience time how we do, you know.
Can you talk about those sort of asymmetrical, like lozenge shape pieces behind you? I was curious about those.
These things back here? Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, this is a quilt block or a quilt top quilt that I made recently, and it's this is Oumuamua. Okay, so Oumuamua is a comet that sometime in like the 90s, I think, like came really close to Earth, and it like went around the Earth, and then it sort of slingshotted it back in a different direction. But as it was leaving our solar system, it sped up. Like it accelerated a lot.
Whoa.
And there's not really like a physical, like it does, like things don't do that in space, you know, like that was like a very strange anomalous thing to happen. And people think that maybe it's like an alien probe, or that it's not like a naturally occurring thing. I don't know what it is, but it definitely is a beautiful thing that, you know, I thought was worth memorializing.
Wait, so that's the shape of the orbit?
No, that's the shape of the actual comet. Oumuamua is this very long comet. I'll look up a picture of it. It's like this really long comet that it's shaped like a shard, you know, like it's like a big oval, and it's flat, and it just careens through the sky. Oumuamua. Here we go. This is just like a version of it, like a representation. That's supposedly what it looks like. So that seems pretty
cool.
proby to me. And this one, that's just I was trying to do like curved quilt patterns at some point, and I don't know. I got creative with it. I thought it should sort of melt away.
I like it.
Thank you. Thanks, Saskia, for calling.
Of course. Thanks for sharing your wisdom.
Awesome. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. All right. How much longer? We got, let's say, 5 more minutes, and then we'll sign off here for our inaugural episode. Anybody else feel like commenting? Do we have any more questions in the chat or comments? You can tell us a quilt story if you have a baby quilt that you want to talk about, or something. Oh. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hello. Hi. William?
Yes.
You're on Taking Cues.
When is Oumuamua? I came in a little late,
Yeah, that's okay.
and it's me and my friend Nick here.
Oh.
I think you know him.
Hi, Nick.
Um,
I do. I know
Hey,
both of you.
how's
These
it
are my
going?
friends that are calling.
when is it's our wine? We're having a wine night right now.
Oh, that's very cool.
What we were wondering when is I was wondering, do you know when Oumuamua is coming back?
No. Is Nick around?
Yeah.
Nick, will you look it up real quick?
This is so weird. I gotta go in the other room. We're getting too much of a delay.
Oh, yeah, Twitch has a delay. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Nick, if you just look it up, just
There's more me wondering it.
I don't know when Oumuamua is coming back. I didn't even know that it was coming back.
Oh.
Where did you hear that, William?
What is LKT? Or I thought it was something like that. Yeah, what is LKTV, by the way?
LKTV, this Twitch stream channel that we're on, it stands for Lino Kino TV. And Lino Kino is this video collective in Philly. And this is the project that we're doing. LKTV is the TV station that you're tuned into at this moment.
And what is your favorite wine?
I would say Sauvignon, the red kind.
Sauvignon Blanc.
No, that's white.
Eli Klein?
Blanc is white in French.
Very much.
Sauvignon.
It's like no white. No white.
What's it
wine.
called?
No white
Sauvignon?
wine, please.
Cabernet. Cabernet Sauvignon. That's my favorite wine. Okay,
Cabernet?
someone else is
Absolutely
calling.
white.
William,
Love you.
love you. Bye-bye. Who else is going to call? I'm getting messages, but you have questions?
Would you ever make a quilt where you collect the fabric gradually, like a really meaningful fabric?
I don't know. I don't know if I would. The question was, would I ever make a quilt with meaningful fabric where I collect it all very gradually? I kind of. Well, I started this little book a couple weeks ago with all the like I'll take a scrap and put it in the book and write where it came from, and some of them are special, some of them are very special, but some of them just come from a thrift store or something, but I think I kind of feel like all of these little pieces of fabric are special in some way. So making a one quilt with all of them as a special thing, I don't know. I don't think I would. I think I like to mix it in, kind of take the special thing and hide it in there among all these other things, And the book idea just came from like in 20 years, if I still have some of these things, there's no way I'm going to remember where all these fabrics came from, even though that's something I would want to remember. So, yeah, I like to sneak them in, Are there any other questions on the chat from people above 50 years old? No, nothing else? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to keep quilting or doing this little zigzag pattern here for another little bit, but I think we're going to go ahead and sign off, and maybe we'll see you next week on Taking Cues. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful night.